Obono-Obla, a former special assistant to former President Buhari on prosecution and ex-chairman of the disbanded Special Presidential Investigation Panel for the Recovery of Public Property, has reacted to the Attorney General of Rivers State's comments on the appeal court judgment of October 10. Recall that the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Israel Dagogo Iboroma, SAN, stated that the recent Court of Appeal judgment in Abuja did not reinstate the Martin Amehule-led faction of the State House of Assembly, dismissing claims that they remain members of the Assembly. In a statement issued on Thursday by the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Israel Dagogo Iboroma, SAN, the government insisted that Amehule and 26 other lawmakers had automatically vacated their seats upon their defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress on December 11, 2023. According to Iboroma, this defection triggered Section 109, subsection 1G of the 1999 Constitution, which mandates that lawmakers who switch political parties lose their seats. The Attorney General further explained that the case at the Federal High Court and the subsequent appeal concerned the 2023 Appropriation Bill and the National Assembly's intervention in Rivers State's legislative functions, not the status of the defected lawmakers. Obono-Obla, in reaction to Rivers State Attorney General's statement, said, "I am amazed that the learned Attorney General of Rivers State would react to the judgment of the Court of Appeal with such unseriousness. He's merely grandstanding, and the sooner he faces the reality squarely, the better for him." The Court of Appeal has directed that Governor Similaye Fubara represents the Rivers State 2024 Appropriation Bill, known as the budget, to the Rivers State House of Assembly under Speaker Martin Amehule. It is clear as a crystal ball that the Court of Appeal has recognized Martin Amehule as the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly. The learned Attorney General, as a senior legal practitioner and chief legal officer, is a minister in the Temple of Justice. Therefore, he should not let petty politics cloud his vision. We were taught in law school in professional ethics that as a lawyer, you are obligated to always follow the path of the law, even if a legal point is against the interest of your client. Let me start with you, Lucky Man Egila. What do you have to say to this, first of all, the appeal court judgment and the statement of the Attorney General of Rivers State and the reaction of Obono-Obla? What do you have to say of that?
Well, the appeal court has given their judgment as regards Rivers State. No one should begin to fight it except if the Rivers State government feels they want to appeal it. They have the right to appeal, but as far as I'm concerned, there is a judgment, and that judgment should be, it should be upheld. As it concerns the Attorney General of Rivers State, Dagogo Iboroma, who has made one or two comments, I think no one is a fool anymore. A court of competent jurisdiction has handed down the judgment recognizing Martin Amehule as the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly. The government should obey it and represent that budget. The only problem there is that the so-called budget is already being implemented as of now. So, there are certain things, certain acts that, even if the budget is being represented, certain things that cannot be undone anymore. Because in that budget contains projects that implementation are ongoing, some that have been completed, and so on. So, you cannot run against this. We are talking about 2025 budget. And the court is handing down the judgment that the 2024 budget should be presented. Sometimes I begin to wonder also, sincerely speaking, if our judges in this country do not undergo certain statutory trainings. Because when you want to hand down the judgment, for Christ's sake, you should know that a budget was presented, whether rightly or wrongly, and that budget is being implemented already. This is October. We are almost in November. The year is almost over. And you're asking that the budget that is supposed to be implemented this year be represented. I don't know if the judges of the appeal court actually thinks want the state to begin to retrogress, or they are expecting the state to progress. So there are issues there. So in delivering certain judgments, our judges and this, they should also look at the reality. That is why they are there. Everything cannot be the law verbatim, but look at the practicality of the judgment you're handing down also matters. So I think the judgment has been handed down. I, for one, will say, okay, obey this judgment. If you want to appeal, it's within your rights to appeal. But the fact still remains that this judgment in its entirety, for it to be implemented 100%, I doubt it.
All right. If I may ask, Chief Luckyman, you would agree with me that the appeal court merely affirmed an earlier judgment that was given by Justice Omotosho January of this year, 22nd of January this year. And the budget in question is a full cycle budget, which means it is expected to kick off in January.
Yes.
Now, when you look at it, when the judgment initially was given, it was still at the very
early implementation
stage of the 2024 budget.
I understand.
The governor refused to represent that budget.
Because he went to appeal.
Hold on. The governor recently went to appeal. That judgment in the first instance, and what did the appeal court, one of the things appeal court told the governor was that you cannot appropriate and reprobate at the same time. The governor, the River State government had written or submitted their counter affidavit. But in face of the presidential intervention, they withdrew their own counter affidavit. They withdrew their own defense. And in their defense, they had also made some very serious allegations against the Martin Amehule-led House of Assembly. But they withdrew it. And by that singular action, they waived their rights over that matter.
Well, if this is politics and we're on air, I will say this for free. Sincerely, very, it's wrong for a man who claims that, oh, this person is oppressing me and there is an intervention. Say, okay, let us make peace. And part of the conditions for making peace was, you withdraw your case, you withdraw your case, let us come and mediate. And me, that is perceived to be the troublemaker, went ahead and withdrew my case, and you refused to withdraw your own. So the fact that you failed to withdraw your case shows that you are actually the troublemaker. Now, forget about all those things. All those things are come and gone. The judgment was handed down by Justice Omotosho. I understand. But in as much as the government, whether it took them 3 months or 4 months or 5 months to appeal, the fact is that they have appealed and they still got the same judgment that, look, go and represent.
No, I am bringing up this matter because you are blaming you're faulting the appeal court judgment.
I am faulting it on grounds that, look, Mr. Governor or River State government, you have appealed this judgment. This is our judgment. However, we also know that this is what played. Now, what played out there is this. Fubara knew that he was not going to present that budget again to the Martin Amehule-led team. But he did something. In as much as I know that even if I go to the appeal court, I might still lose in the appeal. But let me buy time for myself. So by the time I buy the time, and the matter eventually goes to the appeal court will hand down their judgment, of course, which I know will not be in my favor. Time has elapsed. If you're asking me to present that budget now in October, when will the implementation start? That is where I come in to say, in senior claims, in more civilized claims, the judges will say, look, while we are upholding the judgment that is about, we all know that this thing is not practicable again because of the time that has passed.
In senior claim, to be candid with you, what is applicable here will be law, and the implementation of law is without sentiments, to be candid. The law does not consider the emotions you're bringing into this. The law does not consider the sentiments you're bringing into this. What the law knows was that a judgment was given in January, and you willingly held that judgment in contempt, in utter disdain.
I have a right to appeal for judgment within 90 days.
Hold on. In utter disdain. And you will still recall that the Martins Amehule-led House of Assembly had written to the governor after that judgment
to represent that budget.
The governor answered with further disdain. His response was that we are already making plans for 2025 budgets. That was what he said. In response to that, Martins Amehule again wrote another letter. You would recall that I think part of when they wrote the first letter, that was when the Rivers State the Rivers State government ran to get ex parte order to bar the governor, the Attorney General of the state, the clerk of the house from receiving any letters, correspondences, and impeachment notice from the Martins Amehule-led House of Assembly. So the governor knew all these things. So when you're making a case from the angle of the appeal court upholding that judgment much later in the year, one would wonder the governor had months to implement that particular judgment and was called upon severally to implement that particular judgment. One would say that the governor held the court judgment in contempt. You also recall the latest judgment by Justice Peter Lifu of Federal High Court with respect to Rivers State House of Assembly, Rivers State local government elections, the order of the court and the judgment of the court. The governor came out on national television and said it was a fraudulent judgment. When statements and actions like this are made against the judiciary, what does that tell you? And the governor still goes ahead to do what is in his mind. A judgment was given. So coming out now, Chief Luckyman, to say,
sorry. Let me clear something.
It is too late to present the budget.
Yes, let me say this.
The judgment was given in January.
So let me say this, and I'll say it for free. Listen, this is the law and politics. Fubara is using everything he knows politically to undermine the law. The law is also trying to say, this is the position of the law, this must be done. Now, a judgment was handed down in January. He has the right to appeal. I don't know when they filed the notice of appeal.
Which he did, and the judgment has come.
I don't know when they filed the notice of appeal now. That appeal process from that January, the moment you appeal a judgment, it means you are not bound by that judgment. You can, yes, of course, we are in court, the judgment is there, and I've appealed that judgment, which means I don't agree to the terms of that judgment. That's why I am appealing. So while I have appealed that judgment, Rivers State cannot wait for the appeal judgment to come out before we start developing our states. We cannot wait because 27 people
and now that
have defected from their political parties that has also other cases in court that we are still battling with in that entire political scenario. We should wait for them because we want to satisfy 27 persons as against the entire wishes of Rivers people.
Right.
It's not done anyway. I'm so sorry. But this is another thing. Now, let's talk about the judiciary. The judiciary, for now in Nigeria, their hands are soiled neck deep into politics. And I think the moment they need to begin to look at themselves and purge themselves of all the accusations. A group came out the other day and was actually accusing the Chief Justice of Abuja in High Court Division, Justice Lifo, Justice Ali Mosho. These are judges that they said any case concerning Rivers State is always in their docket. And I'm beginning to ask, why is it that all Rivers matters fall within the docket of these particular judges that are being accused? The NJC and the Chief Justice of the Federation need to begin to do something about it, because some of the judgments that are being handed down needs to actually be scrutinized.
All right.
To ensure that these judgments were handed down following the laws of the land clearly.
All right. However, a judgment has been given and the governor is mandated.
And I said he should obey the law.
You said the governor should obey the law, and at the same time you're faulting the judgment. But then let me come to you, Ugochukwu. What do you have to say to all this drama going on and the statement of Obono-Obla in reaction to the Attorney General of Rivers State?
I don't know why the praise singers of the governor and those who are so sympathetic and sentimental to his pursuit will not be mentioning the appeal judges, because you remember the same fate Lifo and Omoto-Osho is offering now is what Justice Inyang Ebo and the other justice, there are two of them who were accused during the Buhari era that people go to their courts to purchase judgments. You know, it is hard time Nigerians begin to look at the letters of cases instituted and they are how they have effect with the constitution of the country, or the acts that are, you know, that has instituted such ministries or parastatals. Just like what happened in Rivers State during the last local government elections. You know, many people there were accusations or counter-accusations about what INEC should do and whether ISEC has recourse to INEC and all that. But they have their legs in the Constitution and also in the Electoral Act. So why I'm saying this is that because of what Lukman said, because Lokima was making allusion to purchasing of court judgments, when it favors you, it is no longer purchased. But when it goes contrary to what you expect, it becomes a case of that you have an interest. You have an interest. I mean, this is not the time to begin to do blame and counter blame. But what I want to say in this regard is that this case did not start today. And I think the governor and his handlers will be paying some of us money for giving them free counseling. You know that on this show and in open conversation and the Sunday open air, we have been calling on the governor, pointing out the judgment of Omoto-Osho that legitimized and legalized the person of Martin Samuel as the Speaker of the Rivers State House Assembly. Was never vacated. We have been, nobody vacated it, and the governor now appealed when he, just like what happened there, Laurentia, you remember that on last Sunday I sat here and I said that the election that I held in Rivers State was an event, and an election that there was no institution of a tribunal. One day or after we left the show, we had the governor saying that that they are going to constitute the tribunal that will look at the fallout and the misgivings that people might have felt during that charade that they called an election. So they listen to us. They know that we are here, we are not blabbing, and we are following the intricacies and what is going on in Rivers State. And we say it the way it is, without recourse to whose us is God, because I don't know Fubara, I don't know Mate Samehule. We say it with the lines of the law and the trajectory of what we are looking at. So this particular appeal court judgment now, if Lucky Man and other people has no listened to the relics of the law and all the judgments given, the appeal court also stated that all the exercises that the state high courts did were in futility. You wouldn't have been here contesting that Mate Samuel is defected or not. He said that all both the state high court that legitimized the speakership of the now chief of staff to the governor, Edison here, and the one Okojombo went to sort. The appeal court clearly, I heard that the governor have appealed it to the Supreme Court. Before this Thursday appeal court judgment came, there was another appeal court judgment that said that all the exercises that were done, litigations and all the cases that were taken to state high courts, we are effort in futility. So how will you now have the locus to contest the authenticity of the Martin Samehule speakership? That one alone could give anybody, even if you are not a law student, will give you a line to which that all these
court orders, all these court judgments that have turned out in favor of the governor and his camp in Rivers State were effort in futility. What did that leave us? That leaves us that Martin Samuel and his brothers are still authentic members of the State House of Assembly. And that is where Justice Omotosho, in his wisdom, who knew that all these cases that were thrown to the State High Court, in 22nd of January this year, he gave a judgment that Martin Samuel represent the budget to Martin Samuel. We are talking about whether the budget is being expended or the activities of the budget has started. That is another leg of the issue. But presentation of the budget is an academic exercise. It's an academic exercise. Even if the governor has come in, even if the governor...
Hold on, Chief Lucky Man.
Because this thing, I'm so sorry, but there are issues that need to be cleared up. Because now, this is it. First and foremost, I applauded the judgment of the appeal court. And I said, Fobara should obey that is it. But I did not attend at any point in time assert that people were buying judgments from my point is this. Yes, my point is this. Why is it that every case concerning Rivers State goes to the docket, the district of Justice Alimosho, Justice of the High Court? Abuja has lots and lots of judges.
All right, right now, what we are saying is,
if there is no hanky-panky in the judicial system, let other eyes also see these things and say, oh, what Alimosho is saying and what Lifu is saying is in line with this. All we are saying is they should recuse themselves when certain matters of Rivers State come.
Hold on, gentlemen, I really do not want us to delve into that, because that is entirely a different topic of conversation.
No, but
Rivers State politics has so many branches and so many issues and complexities.
But there are also state high judges that governor runs to.
If we are to bring all that,
of course, he runs and sometimes his own. Witte is there, while is there, Justice Wale is there, Justice Witte is there. Why is it always from their own point of view?
If their hands are also neck deep in politics, they should also, please, they should give way.
But even if
we want this, the law should be as...
Look, Lucky Man.